Battlefield needs to read the room. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last month or so, the dislike towards Battlefield 2042 from a large majority of the fanbase can't have escaped you. It's palpable, really, anywhere you go. Twitter, Reddit, people are just furious and disappointed in equal measure. It's obvious that people are very unhappy with the game. We feel like promises haven't been fulfilled, and this tweet from September by Jim Hazel, when we learnt about the delay, really encompasses that. Hey, I really appreciate all the support from the community regarding the new 2042 dates. It feels good that you trust us, and you should. It's a solid game. This isn't my first rodeo, it's not a project in trouble, it just needs a little longer on spin cycle. Have faith, fam. Boy oh boy did that age badly. Now this isn't an attack against Jim and no hard feelings towards him specifically, but based on this tweet either he was lying to us or EA was lying to him. Most people are either completely done with the game, never to return, whilst others like myself are still clinging to the few remaining threads of hope that DICE and EA can really listen to the community and do something about this. It's not like we haven't had plenty of content creators and Battlefield fans putting their best foot forward in highlighting great ideas to fix the game. We have. But looking at the official Battlefield Twitter account, for example, it looks more like they're burying their heads in the sand and waiting for this tidal wave of hatred to recede. So I have the Battlefield Twitter account notifications on, just on the off chance that they post some new information on an upcoming patch or, Lord forbid, a letter of apology. But here are a couple of their recent tweets. So this one gives us a bit of lore about the world of Battlefield 2042, which nobody gives a shit about anymore, by the way, along with some nice dark concept art. And it's almost a taunt, you know? It's almost like this is what the game could have actually felt like, but as we all know, the atmosphere feels nothing like what this picture portrays. And if we check the comments here, you'll see that nobody else gives a shit about it either. They just want to know when the game will be fixed, how it will be fixed, and what DICE intend to do. Basically, if you don't have good news, don't bother tweeting this kind of stuff as if nothing is happening and everything is honky-dory. It also certainly doesn't help matters when DICE remove fan-favourite game modes like Rush from the Portal experiences. They knew we all loved it, why would you remove it? Now, it's understandable that we haven't heard that much over the past couple of weeks, okay? After all, everybody's been having their nice long Christmas, New Year's holiday. However, when DICE did return to work and finally open their mouths, the feeling was once again tone deaf. Andy McNamara, Global Director of Integrated Comms, decided to chime in on how he felt about the whole thing from his personal Twitter account. Back to work today, check Reddit and Twitter, and Battlefield fans are pissed we didn't do enough updates or communication during the holiday break. Guys, people gotta rest. We have things in motion, but we have to figure out what is possible. We will address it when we are 100%. Let us get back from break and get back to work. Love you guys, but these expectations are brutal. The things you want take time to scope, design, and execute. And of course, we all know exactly what Reddit did with this tweet. They made a meme out of the whole brutal expectations sentence there, which pushed Andy to delete his tweet and consequently for the Battlefield 2042 subreddit moderators to issue everybody a warning that if they didn't stop the toxicity, the entire subreddit would be taken offline, which has actually blown up in its own right to be big gaming news and was even covered by IGN. Now, the fact that Andy says these things take time to scope out and that we want to be 100% when we address these things signals to me that some of the upcoming changes could be quite sweeping and significant, and perhaps that's why they're taking their time communicating with us. However, a lot of the changes that players want are very small and I imagine easy to implement, like a scoreboard for example. Imagine how happy it'd make people if the official Battlefield Twitter told us they were implementing a scoreboard. It's not going to break the game in any way, it should be fairly easy to implement, and more importantly perhaps, it'd give the player base a sign that we are being heard and our feedback is being acted upon. Here's what I would like to see. First off, a letter of apology to the entire Battlefield community, apologising for the state of the game on release and clearly stating how they plan to listen to the community and fix the game with us. Something like this. Happy New Year, NoPats! We have heard your feedback loud and clear, which we are currently working with to make Battlefield 2042 the best game it can possibly be for its community. For starters, we have decided to bring back the traditional class system, helping to provide players with more defined roles for rewarding team play. We will also soon be implementing several series features missing at launch, such as scoreboard, server browser, squad options, VoIP and more. To better reflect the game's tone and lore, we will be reworking the end of round segment, removing specialist appearances, and changing the in-game voice lines to better suit the game's mature theme. As part of the new lore, all of the current specialists will be killed off in a horrific explosion whilst taking a group selfie. Battle-hardened soldiers will replace them on the field. All of these changes and more will be made in a substantial update coming soon. We also have plans to rework the maps, adding more cover and terrain deformation to improve infantry flow, and this will arrive in a separate update arriving within the next few months. This is just the beginning, as we will be improving and advancing Battlefield 2042 with more bug fixes, quality of life additions, and other features as the year progresses. We look forward to launching Season 1 in the near future, and will continue to support the game with all our passion moving forwards. Just imagine if that was real, if EA just owned this situation, how much more hope for the game would that give you? It almost brings a tear to my eye, I tell you. I don't think we'll ever see a proper letter of apology from EA, honestly. At the most, it'll be worded something like, "We understand that some of you are dissatisfied with the current state of the game." Something that doesn't say, "We were wrong." Because in a sense, as soon as EA apologise or implement a scoreboard, that's like them admitting that they were wrong, which makes them look like they don't know what they're doing to their shareholders. I really think they should implement the CTE or Community Test Environment Initiative, like they did for Battlefield 4. These servers were test servers where DICE could implement changes and let us test them before being ported over to the main game. The community's feedback was listened to, and thanks to us and DICE LA, now Ripple Effect Studios' hard work, Battlefield 4 ended up being the fantastic title that it is today. And speaking of Battlefield 4, we've been seeing ex-DICE employees chiming in on the current situation. Johan Gerrel, who used to work for DICE, put up a poll asking, genuine Battlefield question here, would even a Battlefield 4 with new tech satisfy the community? Same game design, just newer stuff. And the options were yes, no, too late, or I don't care anymore. And surprise, surprise, 81.5% of people said yes. We knew all along that's what people wanted, Battlefield 4 2.0, and that's basically what DICE promised us with a lot of their promotional material as well. This really sounds all too familiar. It reminds me of J. Allen Brack and the ever so famous line he gave at BlizzCon 2013, where a World of Warcraft fan asked if they'd ever consider making servers for older expansions of the game, so that people could experience it the way it was when it released all those years ago. And Allen, who would go on to become president of Blizzard, albeit for a short time, gave this response.
Have you ever thought about adding servers for previous expansions as they were then?
No. And by the way, you don't want to do that either. You think you do, but you don't.
And now, of course, you have World of Warcraft Classic, which is exactly what this fan was asking for. And ironically, it was Brack himself who had to announce World of Warcraft Classic. So do I think people would pick up and play a remaster of Battlefield 4 or a Battlefield 4 2.0? Yes, abso-freaking-lutely. Now, just so it's not all doom and gloom, I will be making a video soon on what I think DICE should do with the game, what they can implement both in the short term and long term to try and bring back some of the player base. But for now, I will leave you with the wise words of Thad Sasser, another ex-DICE developer. One of the things the teams I work on focus on is who are the players and what do they love. It's pretty important to know who you're making the game for. I couldn't agree more. Guys, thank you for watching the video. Feel free to leave me your comments down below, or alternatively, if you want to come have a chat with me live over on Twitch, then you can find a link to my Twitch down below. I usually stream Battlefield there along with other games. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the next video.